Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this live stream I'm hosting tonight. I hope everyone's doing okay. I'm not doing too bad. I'm going to be talking about quite a few things that have been going on recently, and I've not been making a great deal of videos in recent times, but I've decided to cram some major issues into this singular live stream, which I'll be covering tonight. Obviously, the big news today is Black Pigeon Speaks, who was purged from YouTube, has had his account restored, which is great news. But that doesn't mean we can, be complacent just yet. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do what I usually do every time I get started. I'm going to distribute invites to certain social media. Oh, this looks weird. I'm looking at YouTube at the moment in its ancient state as it was in 2016. Let's see. God, this looks weird. It's like going back a couple of years in time. Anyway. Right. Listen to Twitter live now. Into my Telegram chat as well. And lastly, I'll do it on Gab. I seem to get a few upvotes in Gab. Delete the old one though. YouTube have changed their live streaming functionality. I'll need to learn how to use it. It's quite decent, but I've not got time to learn on the spot right now. There we go. There we go. So that's a few invites being sent out. And good evening to Polygon. First of the people on the chat. Text from a friend saying he's not going to show his real name. That's absolutely fine. We have to use discretion with our identities, especially in this day and age, in the culture of doxing and the digital unpersoning of people. I mean, if you are going to give out your name as the likes of Stephen Crowder and Carl Benjamin do, then you have to go all in this sort of business. But if you're like me, you only have like a small handful of people that watch it, then you've got to stay vigilant. Although at least I won't be on the radar for the mainstream media. If I ever get successful, then maybe. But anyway, I digress a little bit. I'm going to try and... Oh, I wonder why YouTube's still showing and it's... That's better. Yeah, if you go into like live stream creator, then sometimes you can end up like setting YouTube's interface back a couple of years. But anyway, enough of that. So, the big news recently was that Black Pigeon Speaks got his account terminated. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday, actually, which is quite bizarre. I was watching a video a couple of nights back of him. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I'll have a look to see. But Pigeon Speaks is not someone who advocates for any hatred or violence. The only thing that you could say would be wrong with him, and this is, well, not even wrong, but the only semblance of a bad thing about Black Pigeon Speaks is that if you watch too much of his videos, you can become extremely black-pilled, because he doesn't hold back. He tells you the hard truth. Black Pigeon Speaks is the sort of guy who will tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So it can be quite demoralizing if you hear some of the truths that he repeats time and time again. But other than that, he's very, very rational and calm, and he's very, very good at presenting his videos and the points that he makes. And that's why he was singled out in this instance, because he was coming up on 500,000 views when subscribers, should I say, at the moment when his channel was purged, but he got his channel back, and the Streisand effect, and as in full flow as usual, he gets over 500,000 subscribers. So well done to Black Pigeon Speaks, and I hope he's doing not too bad. But the thing is, so many of your favorite content creators' channels are in the crosshairs right now. So I do think Paul Joseph Watson is one who's firmly in the crosshairs. I did expect him to be next. Now that Black Pigeon Speaks has been restored for the time being, I think that he may get purged again. I think they were testing the waters, but at this stage, it's hard to say whether he will be back or not. Be purged again. He is back. My apologies. A little bit tired, but yeah, I'll try and ferret on. But if you have a BitChute account, I will show you BitChute in a moment. I'll just get that up and then I'll go to screen share. Yeah, so anyone that's watching this, if you're either watching it live or you're watching it on catch up, if you see this website here, it's not available as an app just yet. And don't expect it to either, to be honest, because it's already got a bad reputation thanks to the dirty smear merchants. But you go to bitchute.com, and it's an alternative platform which is committed to freedom of speech. I have my own channel here, which I started a couple of years ago, but I only put a few videos up, these ones, and I've put some videos on. And although the viewership is, I wouldn't say it's that much worse than any of the stuff that I've put on YouTube, but it is safe to say that you're going to get more views because every video goes on the homepage from the moment it's published. So everything will be there. So you will get some views. There's I Rate Alex, I Rate Bear. Another good channel you should subscribe to. Anyway, so yeah. Let's see here. I'm going to come out of share mode just now. There. Okay then, so yeah, it's great that Black Pigeon Speaks is back on, but don't hold your breath. He could definitely well be vaporized again at a moment's notice. They were testing the waters with the likes of Alex Jones previously, and they're going to want to do this more often, and it is going to happen. But I think Paul Joseph Watson, I'm surprised he's still going because he's done a very good job at ruffling the feathers of the progressive establishment. So I think he's definitely in the crosshairs, as I said earlier. Black Pigeon Speaks again is still going to be there. Don't think he's safe and got his account there permanently. Tim Pool, I think he's another one who, although maybe not at the top of the hit list, but he's certainly going to be on there because he does go against the progressives quite a bit. The Quarter In, I think he's someone that will be as well, especially since he's been dropped by advertisers and he's part of what the media lashed out as the angry gaming community. Sargon of Akkad, of course, he's going to be up the top as well. In fact, if you go on Sargon's channel, you'll see a video where he, Jesus Christ, was put on a Facebook hate watch list, which is quite rich because I bet at the Facebook headquarters in the offices there, they're screaming at the 2 minutes hate. It'll be Donald Trump one day, Sargon the next. And I'm just trying to think anyone else it might be. V, maybe? I'm not so sure. I do wonder, Dave Rubin could be one. Even Jordan Peterson's not invincible, even though his content is not in the least bit controversial. He still gets hit pieces made about him, and he's coming up with his own platform called ThinkSpot. So keep a lookout for that. I think it's going to be a paid only one. And from what I understand, they're committed to only removing stuff if ordered to by the US Court of Justice. So that'll be quite interesting. I'll be interested to see what people have to say about that as well. And back onto Black Pigeon Speaks, as I was saying earlier, he probably, I have called him Black Pilled Speaks before, strangely enough, because some of his stuff can come across as, it's probably one of the more depressing ones, not because of his demeanor. He's very articulate in his demeanor, and he's very truthful, but it's like he's revealing to you that the shit's going to hit the fan, and it's hard to argue with what he's got to say. So he's still got all these videos up as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure if any other ones will be taken down. Hey, shut up. I'm getting text messages. Who's this? Might be someone trying to watch. Jesus Christ, someone wants to watch me, but he's sending a text to have a look. Yeah, so hopefully he'll be tuning in at some point. Yeah, Black Pigeon Speaks. He's a vegan. He's what V jokingly referred to as a right wing vegan, if such a thing exists. I suppose one has to exist. His username comes from the fact that he likes pigeons and he looks after them. So that's quite fascinating. He's kind of like the lady from Central Park in Home Alone 2 IRL, but a dude. So yeah, if you look at his stuff, it's just very hard hitting, just very, he can be quite harsh in the way he delivers well, not even harsh really, but it's harsh information. It's like he's calling the downfall of civilization, and it's quite staggering how true it is when you think about it. Oh, dude, still getting messages. All right, hang on just a second. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I should be getting my audience coming in shortly. So yeah, if anyone was wondering why the original link actually isn't working, because of the issues I was having getting the stream set up, so I decided to just do a Google Hangout because it's a lot simpler, tried and trusted. It should be shown in people's feeds, but a couple of my regulars aren't here just now. Yeah. Anyway, back on topic. Yeah. So Black Pigeon Speaks videos has come back on, so he's back on for now. But if you're interested in his stuff, or if you're interested in even my stuff or anyone else's stuff for that matter, pretty much every content creator in this sphere, it's hard to say what it is, whether it's a genre or even a community. I think we're going to become a community again because of what's going on. We are going to have to band together. That's what Black Pigeon Speaks is actually going to outline in his next video. Let's hope it's actually going to have a channel to actually show it. But the community, or if you wanted to call it that, it used to be called the skeptic community, which I don't really give a shit about, to be honest. It's just anyone that challenges what I would call the progressive orthodoxy. There's not a term for it, but you'll know exactly what sort of content creators I'm referring to. If it's anyone that speaks out against political correctness, who challenges, who defies the consensus that the legacy media establish, then that's pretty much what the community consists of, if you can even call it that. I mean, we might just call it the community. Stick, Sex, and Hammer, that's another one that I think might be in the crosshairs as well of the ban Hammer. So yeah, get onto BitChute. It's only available on the desktop browsers at the moment. So either use your mobile web browser or use your computer. I'd recommend using a computer over the phone any day in all internet scenarios. And some people were saying they were having problems signing up for it. It might ask you for a referral. That's completely optional, but you're free to put my name in if you want. You're free to put any content creator's name, Sargon, Computing Forever, whoever you subscribe to. But if you don't want to put anything in, it doesn't make a difference. Just having a search for your favorite content creator will bring up a few videos and you'll be able to source their channel that way. Right, so I think there's not a great deal to say about too much about Black Pigeon Speaks personally, anything else, but rather his banning, it means that the siege is not over at this stage. So expect more of your content creators to disappear, even if it's only temporarily, while they carry out a test. And expect some of your favorite content creators' videos to start vanishing as well, if not the whole channel. And bear in mind that a lot of this was happening without any warning or any strikes or any sort of grounds for appeal. And that's what happened with Black Pigeon Speaks. Oh, Punkster, hello. Finally got someone listening in. Just hang on a second. I think someone is struggling to get into my chat. Let's see. Oh, I think he's watching. That's fine. That's great stuff. So yeah, it's not the end of it. You'll see many more attempts to temporarily remove channels. They'll see how much. See if they can get away with it first. I mean, they probably would have, but the outrage and the backlash from so many people has shown that people are aware. So it would make sense for them to go after smaller channels instead, but then again, it won't really have an effect. So they have to go for the big ones. And at 500,000 subscribers, which he's now got past, and I'm going to put it down to this Streisand effect of deleting his channel, of trying to unperson him. That's what's brought it back. So it's, if anything, it turns into free publicity when they try to censor someone. Let's have a look here. So yeah, I think that maybe brings me on to the Vox apocalypse, something I've not done a video about at all. I've not really needed to because so many other people have in my stead. Well, many people that can actually see it, for example. And this siege is part of a greater effort. It's not just Carlos Maza on his own coming out saying that he's got a pretty thick skin, but Stephen Crowder's videos where he says socialism is for figs, the t-shirt that he's trying to sell, was really bothering him. And it probably was to an extent, but at the same time, if someone had wronged you and they were like dealt with, like put in jail, I doubt you'd be like celebrating. You'd feel more like it's closure and relief that justice has been done. But Carlos Maza, if Stephen Crowder's channel does get vaporized, and that's also in the crosshairs, I don't know why I never mentioned that in the list, but Crowder's channel, if that goes down, Carlos Maza is going to be like laughing, rubbing his hand like a certain merchant with joy. And he's definitely been like put up to this. It's like a wider thing. It's coming from like the legacy media as well as their sponsors and their suppliers to try and compete with the new internet age of content creators who have done a better job at appealing to the audiences, doing a better job at articulating their message, and they're not driven by purely financial incentive, although a lot of them it's their sole source of income. But a lot of the people, if you get the likes of Count Dankula, Sargon of Akkad, all these people and anyone that's like them, they can't go back to having, just your standard blue collar job and making an income. This is it's this or nothing for them now, and the progressives want to punish them for this, for simply just being better than them. The legacy media want to punish them for it. They and yeah, it's just like it's not just them. I highly doubt that the Vox apocalypse was just purely by Carlos Maza himself. There's been other people that have been involved. That's been planned, and he was the one that would go live with this, do an appeal to see how YouTube would react, and then all the blue check verifies would then jump on YouTube when they didn't get rid of Crowder's channel, and then they changed their terms of service, and then after that they start demonetizing channels left, right, and center. You know, people in video with like history archives were getting their channels demonetized. Tailed Feature had his channel demonetized. I mean, he's hard. He's not. He's just got like what 10K subscribers. Not a huge YouTuber, but he's got like a good solid following who watches his videos. And I mean, the fact like his content does go against the progressive consensus, but he's not like well known enough in the same mold as Sargon, and he's been demonetized as well. Just it's probably like by association as well. If I was to hazard a guess, maybe it's because Tailed Feature did have one of his videos put up onto Sargon's channel during the EU election run up. That might just be it. It could just be guilt by association. I'm not sure what other ones. I know some channels have been brought down, but it's just if you think of the way that they like label a lot of the YouTubers as alt-right, which could not be further from the truth. It's absolutely madness. Like, of course, if you look at it through the the legacy media lens, where everyone who's against political correctness or anyone who's to anywhere even remotely to the right of Chairman Mao is the alt-right, then maybe I could understand why someone would think that. They're completely wrong to do so. The people who are labeling them are doing so in bad faith. If anyone's been watching V's channel recently, you'll notice that he's been playing a video clip from, I believe, the 1940s or possibly the early 50s. But it's someone who's mentioning that the Soviets, the communists, started a strategy of labeling people who disagreed with them as a Nazi. So this is not new. This has been like ongoing since the end of the Second World War, and given the atrocities of Nazi Germany, it was such a useful tool for them to nobody would want to be tarnished with such a horrible label and related to such horrible ideas and practices, and rightly so. You don't want it to be anyone if you don't want lots of people to think you're a Nazi. So that's why they use it, and they're trying to repackage it as like alt-right, and then they're trying to use like terms like brainwashing. And this Vox apocalypse isn't just Vox. If you saw the New York Times piece about the conservative who was radicalized by YouTube, in a sense, so much so that he actually ended up watching YouTube videos that took him to the left, so it didn't really, add up completely. But that's the New York Times chiming in, and then they had like pictures of lots of YouTubers. Dave Rubin, he's not much of a YouTuber, he's rather like a host of his own show. Sargon of Akkad, Dave Cullen, Big Man Tyrone, even Big Man Tyrone, and it's crazy. He's just someone that you just pay to say anything, and he doesn't just say, he doesn't say anything. He won't like cuss or say anything that's genuinely like bigoted or horrible. But he'll say anything. You say, hey, subscribe to, I don't know, Black Pigeon Speaks is back, so subscribe to him. If someone pays him to say it, he'll say it, no problem. Anyway, looking at the chat, Tailed lost due to association with Sargon and Dank. Yeah, I mentioned that. And especially having, I think, his compilation of his actual fact checking. It's strange how he doesn't work in the media, but he does the job a lot better than a lot of the people that are in the media, so-called fact checkers. Crimson Shadow, welcome welcome. I'm not doing too bad. Just going through the topics. I'm not sure if you've heard of Black Pigeon Speaks Crimson, but you might want to subscribe to him, and you might want to create a BitChute account as well and subscribe. But I would recommend doing that on a computer. At this moment in time, they don't have an app. I need a host to bounce off, Doctor. Maybe, yeah. I do sound a bit thing with how you want to come on. You're more than welcome to. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I would do better with someone to speak to. I do enjoy talking to someone, to be honest, but very very rarely do people actually come on when I when I request it to. But the only person who would do would be Chief Moody. Scottish individual does, but he doesn't get very many opportunities. So it's not due to lack of due to the lack of like willingness to come on. Yeah, a co-host would be good. If you did, you need to talk to me offline first. That's fair enough. We could maybe do that at some point, like a behind the scenes hangout at some point. I might do that more often as well, not just live streams, but I'll do behind the scenes hangouts as well. So yeah, that'll be that. I don't know if I'll see if I might ask Chief Moody if he'll come on, but I don't know if he's available just now. Anyway, so I'll tweet at him. See if he wants to come on. In fact, I'll just put the link in his DM. No, I can see what you mean. I mean, like there was like no one watching for like the first 5 minutes of the stream, and I just kind of lost heart. But I didn't want to stop just in case a few of you came in. Let's see, invite people. If I was a gaming development, I'd accuse Punkster of toxic behavior for me feedback. But no, I adjust depending on what my feedback from subscribers is. So there we go. I've posted it. I've not even like asked him. I've just given it to him, and he can hop in if he wants. If not, that's cool. I'll just have to soldier on by myself. Right. So I think that I don't know if there's anything else to say in the Vox Apocalypse. Maybe more when if Fenway comes on. I can't contact you. I cannot get on Twitter due to an appeal. Oh, what have you been doing? You've been committing thought crimes. How dare you? I don't know. Maybe either on Minds or on Gab, perhaps. If you're on gab.ai, most of my videos have the subscription below it. No, the link below it, rather. I'm absolutely knackered. You called out Jess Phillips. Right. Well, no wonder. That's she's like kind of like a sacred cow that you can't even touch. It's kind of like questioning a feminist has become akin to slandering the Islamic prophet, except I fear that they're actually going to become worse in their response. So yeah, if you find me on Gab, it's let me just get that. It's at Dr. Ezekiel. I've not been kicked off that, and that used to be my Twitter handle at Dr. Ezekiel. And yeah, she is a tool. Quite an odious figure as well. If you saw the video that of her when she went to the mosque after the Muslims who were protesting the LGBT compulsory classes, yeah, I'll spell that for you. But yeah, it just goes to show that intersectionality always turns against itself. That's it there. You can just copy and paste that into Gab and you'll find it. That's if you are on it. Or minds.com if you're on it as well. But yeah, the fineness with intersectionality is people who subscribe to progressivism, intersectionality, they have like white people and especially white men, straight white men, as the thing that they unite against. But imagine, in fact, don't just imagine without the without straight white men in the way. Even if that's all right, Punkster. Even with straight white men still controlling the world as they believe, they still turn against each other. And it just goes to show like mainstream Islam isn't fond of LGBT, then it's not fond of homosexuality. There are some Muslims who don't really care about it. Like individual Muslims can have friends and don't even give a damn. But as a whole, and you saw that in the video in Birmingham when Jess Phillips went to question them and accusing them of causing division in this society, you know, a normally peaceful community. Funnily enough, you wouldn't get that. Like she wouldn't say that about a conservative if conservatives were protesting. Just saying. I was sucking my water. Um. So yeah. Have you ever listened to the far left? They always talk about how the right or anyone they don't like will not divide society. What rock have they been living under? Society has been divided for so long, and they have played a huge part in forging these divisions. I'll follow you back, Punkster. It's it's absolutely pathetic how they think that society's been united and that there's an organization trying to like, or there's like the far right and the alt right and Donald Trump and other, you know, specters of the past that are trying to divide society. Society's already been divided, and political correctness has got a lot to say for that as well. I love the background picture on your Gab page, Punkster. It's brilliant. It just sums it up completely. The state of them. I think the best part is seeing the INSOC poster at the start. Yeah, but yeah, of course, the society's already divided. And to be perfectly honest, if someone on who disagreed with me fundamentally, whether that be the alt right, because just for anyone who's listening, I am not alt right. I do not support their agenda. But if they are willing to discuss in good faith, I'm happy to discuss with them, share out ideas, just like anyone on the left, as long as they're not going to make character assassinations, if they're going to speak to you in good faith, I'm happy to discuss with them. And I'm, you know, kind of like the way Stephen Crowder tries to do with his change my mind segments. Because not once has he like been horrible. Anyone that's been horrible is people been horrible to him. But some of the best discussions he's had has not just been like him owning crazy, you know, feminists or soy boys or what have you, but but also some of the best ones was, I think there was one where he actually hugged a lifelong elderly African American Democrat, and they liked each other. They didn't like, you know, each other's opinions, but they ended up liking each other, and that was a nice change of pace. Because I'm burned out by like all the, you know, the fighting and the division. I'd rather like try and find peace whenever possible, but that's becoming increasingly hard because we're getting more and more polarized and more becoming more and more tribal. I'd say probably the left are worse, but it does exist in the right and the centre to an extent, more so with the right than the centre. Took the Prodigy artwork and added shite. Yeah, I like a good bit of Prodigy myself from time to time. So yeah, so that'll be that. I think next I'll move on to something that's really pissed me off, and something I was going to do a video about, but I might as well just do it here. I might elaborate on a proper video because I do think it does have the capacity to be one of those few videos that break into the hundreds that I create. And it's the one about the elderly citizens of the UK over 75 being made to pay for the TV license, which is a way of propping up the BBC. So I'm going to go back to screen share, and then we can decipher this together. Let me just get it back up. Oh yeah, I do have a Discord account, by the way. But yeah, let me get the. I'll send that to you shortly, maybe at the end of the stream. But I'm going to just screen share. I'm going to get the Express up because people don't like it. I don't really care for them much. I mean, they did want Brexit, so I suppose that was okay. Anyway, so yeah, here we go. Screen share. So there you go. So just let me lay down my view on the BBC TV license before I read this, although you can read it yourself as well. I am not a fan of the BBC TV license. I believe it should be scrapped altogether. If you pay for a TV, you shouldn't have to pay for a license to be able to use a TV or to watch what TV, the channels that were made for people's entertainment. You already pay, if you have Sky or BT, you already pay for that. And people, you only watch Netflix or Amazon Prime, which, as far as I'm aware, I mean, I don't know for damn sure, but as far as I'm aware, if you have like streaming services and you do not have live TV, then that's a way you can get out of it. So, yeah, once my current TV package expires later on at the end of this year, I'm considering just scrapping it altogether. I mean, it's time to practice what I preach with regards to the TV license. But personally, as far as the BBC goes and the way it runs and its existence, there's three options I would present. Like if I was Prime Minister, I would probably like put this at the heart of like one of my manifesto pledges, and this would be the three options for the BBC. First of all, the BBC can have commercial adverts, just like all the other channels that can fund its organisation and pay its staff, fund its programming. It can just, have TV commercial breaks. I used to hate them when I was a child, but, as you get older, you understand. It can be a bit nippy still, but if it means that TV's free, then I'm happy for that. Secondly, if people do have to pay, make it optional and make it a subscription service, almost akin to Netflix or Amazon. So if people want to watch the BBC, they can choose to pay a subscription fee. And then option number 3, if neither option 1 or 2 can be put through, then just let the BBC die. Some people call it a great British institution. I don't think it's necessarily anything special. It's got quite a dark history. It's got it's covered for Jimmy Savile. It's basically the government propaganda wing of any government. It doesn't matter if it's Labour or Conservative, or even if the Lib Dems ever get in power, God forbid. It's always going to be the government's propaganda wing. But it's also got progressive neo-Marxist leanings as well, which is why you have stuff like Our Royal Wedding's Too White. That's what your tax money's paying for. Then let's go back to the stream and see what people are saying. Both are doing that. That's oh, you got Goodfellas Discord server. That's fine. I might pop in to his server at some point. Thanks for that link. I'll click it later on though, maybe after I've done the screen share. So yeah, it's good because I used to post my live streams and my videos on Count Dankula server, and I got a little bit more viewers because of that, because you had like a shill page that you could go on, but then that got nuked again. That's why Count Dankula's in the crosshairs of YouTube's deletion gun, if you can call it that. But anyway, let's get back to this BBC TV license. So yeah, the BBC has announced that from June 2020, 3.7 million pensioners will have to pay for their TV license. But what can you legally watch without having a TV license? Now, think of like pensioners. They get a shit pension as it is. They've lived through, they've shaped and forged this country. They've paid taxes all their life. They should not only get a better pension, but they shouldn't be made to pay for a TV license. I mean, talk about the government and the BBC trying to squeeze all the pennies they can from an already skint population. It's absolutely pathetic. So yeah, this week then is plans to cancel the BBC-funded free TV licenses for its 3.7 million over 75s. So it's from June the 1st next year. So that'll be this time next year. They will lose their right to the free TV license, the pensioners, meaning they'll have to pay the annual £154.50 fee to legally watch TV, which is absolutely pathetic. I mean, Even so, I don't think anyone should be paying it. Doesn't matter how old you are. But to do this to pensioners is just downright criminal. And it's stuff like this that's going to, put Labour back in the government. Not that they'd stop it, but a lot of people will see it happening under the Tories' watch, and then Labour would take over. But Labour wouldn't do a thing about this. It would be more money for them as well, and the BBC will be sprouting their propaganda if they're in power. It's things like this that make me have little glimmers of maybe supporting Scottish independence. Don't worry, I'm not supporting it overall, but when people who support independence see this sort of thing, I can understand why they get frustrated. And that's kind of why it pisses me off that you have a party like the SNP has been the dominating force in Scotland right now, and with Scotland being overwhelmingly pro-Europe. Well, overwhelmingly, I'd say it's not as overwhelming as people would have you think, but it's still more pro-Europe than it is pro-Brexit. And because of that, I can't support Scottish independence at this moment in time. Although, depending on a cultural shift in the future, that might change. I would certainly rather be part of an independent Scotland outside the EU than to be part of a United Kingdom in the EU. But anyway, I digress a bit. But I can understand why people get sick of this, and people will latch onto that, because that's, I think, one of the things that unites, well, at least me with several SNP supporters. The one thing I do have in common is hatred for the BBC and an opposition to the licence. But anyway, let's get back onto this. So it was BBC Chairman David Clemente said it's been a very difficult decision. Well, I bet, not a chance. He says, we think it's fair for those over 75, but also for all our audience for whom there is no appetite to level the cuts of what would have been necessary if the concession had been extended. There are some people for whom this will be unwelcome news. You don't say. Who have not paid until now, but will do so. Well, they'll just have to. The sad thing is, they might just have to get rid of their TV and just not pay the license that way. But I did remember seeing a tweet from a lady whose elderly mother, who is a widow now, her husband's no longer there to keep her company, and all she had was her TV to keep her company. One thing about having, live TV on in the background is if you're on your own, it does give you this semblance of company. It's not the same as having people with you, but it makes you feel less alone. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat, get the gist of what I'm saying. So to do that to lonely elder folk is absolutely horrible. So it will be means tested from June 2020. Sorry, I think I missed one here. The decision has been met with anger, and hundreds of thousands have signed petitions calling the BBC to rethink withdrawn free TV licenses for pensioners, which is absolutely welcome news, and I might sign something later if I can see one. But I would like to go a few steps further and just abolish the TV license altogether. There's no justification for it. You pay through the roof to, unless you're absolutely minted. But if you are on a low income or part time, you've got to pay for your TV, which costs the hundreds, and then you've got to pay for whatever subscription or TV package on top of that. It's not cheap, even without the TV license. Many of the customers have taken to social media to say why they were cancelling their own license in protests of the BBC's decision. To watch TV, a TV license is required by law. This covers all programmes on any channel, including soaps, series, documentaries, and even movies. So it's also even if you were to find a way to stop BBC channels from appearing on your TV, even if you just watch Channel 4, or even if you watch Fox or Sony movies or anything that's live TV, they can do that, and you have to pay the fee just for watching live TV, even if you refuse to watch BBC. These rules apply also if you watch shows live across any device, such as PC, laptop, phone, etc. You also need a license if you watch any BBC programmes or choose to download them on demand on the catch-up service BBC iPlayer. The BBC iPlayer came pre-installed with my smart TV, which I got a couple of years ago. It's been uninstalled naturally, as well as BBC News. I mean, I don't want it. Doing any of these without paying for either a colour or black and white TV license, depending on what kind of television you have, is a criminal offence, which it shouldn't be. If anything, it's a criminal offence that this exists. You'll have a If you're caught without a license, you'll need to pay in full as soon as possible or risk prosecution, plus a fine of up to £1,000. It's up to 500 if you live in Jersey or 2,000 in Guernsey. Jesus Christ! See, this is theft. This is where the inner libertarian in me like bursts out and says taxation is theft. Let's have a wee look here. See what you're saying. It's a place where we can talk if you want. There's a show channel there too. Yeah, that's good. I'll be able to shill myself. I hope Dank gets Discord up. No respect for the elderly. They just don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about anyone except for themselves and anyone that sponsors them. So here's just a list of the on-demand services that you, let's see, are available without a license as long as you don't watch live TV. So this is the way around it. So this is probably how I'm going to go in the future, to be honest. Probably just with Amazon Fire TV and Netflix. I don't pay for Netflix. My my dear sister lets me use her account, so I'll get Netflix gratis. But I might take out something here, perhaps maybe Amazon Fire TV. Maybe I can watch the Grand Tour, which because Top Gear's got any shit since Clarkson and the boys left. So that'll probably be the way that I deal with it going forward. My television will not be hooked up to live TV. There'll be no aerial. There'll be no Freeview boxes. There'll be no Sky boxes. The only way to watch TV will either be, or to watch anything, and it won't even be live. It'll just be like maybe setting up the YouTube app. Well, I already have the YouTube app set up on the PlayStation, and just watch it on there, or just using Netflix, which is built into the TV, or Amazon Fire TV, which I believe might be a stick that goes into the USB. Don't know much about it, but it's something that I'll be looking into. Recorded films, so you don't need it to watch DVDs, which is probably what, I still like to get a DVD from time to time, so that's good. And of course, YouTube. I think there is some BBC stuff that's on Netflix, but I'd like to think that the fee that you pay for Netflix sort of covers you in that aspect, so you no longer have to pay the license. You do if you do want to watch iPlayer, but if you watch, like, say, Planet Earth, because that's probably the only like BBC thing that I really enjoyed was David Attenborough's Planet Earth. I think that doesn't come under it, but don't expect it to stay like that forever. As more and more people, I'll just stop the screen share now. But as more and more people get rid of their license, and it's going to happen, people are going to, they are going to try and expand what is required in order to have a TV license. So don't be surprised if they try to, get away around it, because the TV license does serve a different era, essentially. And the more people just have subscription services, the more likely that they are to try and, cover the TV license to include Netflix and Amazon and, Chromecast or whatever services that you might be using. Let's go back to the chat. You've not had a TV license since June 2016. Don't blame me at all. And I've still been paying it begrudgingly, but I think once my current Sky deal is up, that will be that. It will just be no more for me. So yeah, I think it will just be a case of having paying for like literally one service, and it'll probably be like the Fire TV thing, or maybe, well, I don't need to pay for Netflix. As long as my sister keeps using it, I'm just going to, keep having my free account. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to watch for free of charge. I've never really been a huge TV person anyway. I mean, I used to watch the football live, but I got bored and cancelled that because it was like too expensive. You had to watch Sky Sports. You had to have BT Sport as well. And now if you want to watch like the Scottish Cup and possibly the FA Cup, I'm not sure, you have to have Premier Sports. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't watch a lot of football now, but I think I'm going to start going to the pub with a few mates to watch any games that I do choose to watch going forward. So, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to the day that hopefully, if it ever comes, that the TV license will be abolished. The TV license does need to be abolished. I think despite the fact that I've spoken about this in the stream, I think I might do an actual video about the TV license. And that'll probably be even better, and it will reach a wider audience, and hopefully it will get people to, consider like cancelling theirs as well. And the way to do it legally is not to just defy them by watching the TV. Stick by the rules. Don't give them any ammunition. Have a TV, but just don't have live TV. Just use it for streaming and for YouTube and for gaming and nothing else. That'll be absolutely fine, and DVDs, of course. So anyway, yeah, I've currently got 6 subscribers on my BitChute. Just to finish off, at the moment, I did say in my BitChute advertising video that if I get 50 subscribers, I'll do um, what was it? You laugh, you lose video. No, it wasn't that. What was it? Clip review. Forgetting one stuff. I've had a number of people now tell me that they want me to do a clip review. It's not just yourself, Shadow. It's quite a few people that are saying it now. I think it resonated with the 60 odd people that watch it. I have a BitChute video. I made a video. You might find it in my go into my channel after the stream, and then you'll see that I've just put a video trying to show BitChute. I don't get many views on it, to be honest, despite the over 2k subscribers I currently have, which were amassed thanks to my ancient videos that I put like back in 2006 or God knows how long it was now. Yeah, so I think something that Black Pigeon Speaks mentioned in his video, in his comeback video today, is that he's going to make all his content BitChute exclusive for the first 24 hours. It's going to go on BitChute for 24 hours first, and then it'll come onto YouTube. And I'm considering doing that myself. I think that the good thing about BitChute is I think it's, although you only get like a small period to have your video reach a big audience, at least it's on the homepage. So more and more people who've never seen my stuff before will actually see it. And that can only be a good thing, like going forward in the long run. But I would like all of my people who watch my stuff frequently on YouTube, if you have a BitChute account, to subscribe to me there, and I'll make that my primary platform going forward. 24 hours at least. I might wait longer if I might even forget, but the next video I'll do will be on BitChute, and then it will come onto YouTube after that. And I will keep this for gaming live streams. I've not done a game live stream for a while, but I'll get around to it soon. I'm going to see if I can finish Doom 2016 off next. That'll be my next gaming one. So hope you guys are up for that at some point. Watch me get absolutely slaughtered. I'm looking forward to Doom Eternal this year. Yeah, and of course live streams like this I can only do on YouTube at the moment. They don't have live streaming capabilities on BitChute at this moment in time, although I do hope they bring that in at some point. You've been saying for Dave Collins are going to do this for ages. Well, they've got their BitChute accounts, and they are now like taking it seriously. Now they know that their channels are on death row. I put a channel out on Computing Forever, not a channel. See, I can't even get my words straight. See what happens when you speak all day and then come home and then speak some more. But yeah, I put a comment. I think it was one of the top comments in Computing Forever's video about Black Pigeon Speaks. I just flat out I told Dave, watch out, your channel's on death row as well. You'll be soon. And I told everyone to subscribe, and I've had loads of people saying like not sure how to do it. I think a lot of them are pining for an app because too many people use their phone now. I only discovered last year that more people use their phone as for the internet now than computers, which personally I'm not a fan of. You do you. If you want to use a phone, that's fine. I do it myself at times, so I can't complain too much about it, but I still prefer using a computer. So if you go into bitchute.com, just sign up to that if you haven't already. If it asks for a referral, that's optional. Just put in any content creator you like, essentially. Anyone. In a sense, a lot of content creators are referring you because they're encouraging you to go there, create an account, and get on it there. So, yeah, I think that will wrap it up. It's coming up to an hour now. I didn't want it to go on for too long tonight. So thank you to you guys who tune in, and to anyone that maybe watches this afterwards. I don't know what my next video will be, but a couple of things I'll say before I go. I've got, I think the TV license is going to be one. If any updates happen with the Adpocalypse or with Crowder or Vox, I'll be back on to say something about that. And if anyone watches Rock and Mystery or anyone that's heard about the Mouse Utopia experiment, I'm going to do a video about that. And I think I'm going to take my time and make sure I get it right and well produced, and that I'm speaking a lot clearer, and I've got like citations and sources. So I think that will be a good one, because if anyone has heard of the Mouse Utopia experiment, they didn't, like, just keep it short. They done an experiment on letting mice live in ideal surroundings with no threats, food, drink, and home aplenty, and how they almost went through like a sort of civilization cycle, much like we are going through right now. The parallels are quite frightening, and it does serve as a warning. You think, hey, mice, how do they compare to humans? Well, we're still beings like them, and we still share the same planet. And I think through, like, buried deep down underneath all the differences between mice, between rodents, and between humans, there will be something that we have an origin that goes to the back. Jordan Peterson mentioned this in something that we share with the lobsters, which is why lobsters have hierarchies. um, Definitely, yeah, absolutely. We can definitely have a blather at some point. If you're on the microphone on Discord, I might be on at some point. Not tonight though. My voice is getting a bit coarse, but I'll try and pop on at some point. I've got quite a busy week next week, so I think I'm not sure about. I might manage to squeeze a video out during the week, but I don't think I'll be chatting a lot until perhaps next weekend. So I'll have a little look, but I might do some text chats in the meantime. Just introduce myself to Goodfellas Discord. All right. So with that all being said, I hope you enjoyed it. It's not the best of stream. I do agree that it's better when I have someone. Chief Moody never came in. That's absolutely fine. I'll give him warning the next time. And on that note, I will see you guys another time, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Have a good weekend.